Now is Washington and Lee head.
The following is a presentation of Washington and Lee men's basketball on 91.5 FM WLUR Lexington. Now let's go live to the gymnasium. Here is Jeremy Franklin.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome inside the Salem Civic Center as we get set for quarterfinal action in the 2019 Old Dominion Athletic Conference Men's Basketball Tournament. It's the 4-5 game in the middle of your Thursday afternoon. The number 4 seed Virginia Wesleyan taking on number 5 seed Washington and Lee. Jeremy Franklin with you for today's broadcast. The Generals do come in as the number 5 seed, but that doesn't tell you the full story about what a great regular season Washington and Lee has had. WNL 18-7 overall, the most wins in 3 decades for Washington and Lee in men's basketball, and the Generals finished tied for third, part of a 4-way logjam for the number 3 spot in the ODAC standings with this Virginia Wesleyan team, along with Lynchburg and Roanoke. And based on the way the tiebreakers unfolded, Lynchburg got the number 3, the Marlins are 4th, Washington and Lee number 5, and Roanoke is 6. Lynchburg and Roanoke will play at 8 o'clock tonight. Second game of the day, the first one a rout for the number 1 seed, Randolph-Macon. No trouble with the number 9 seed Randolph beating the Wildcats 79-42. So the winner of this game will take on the Yellow Jackets in the first semifinal at 1 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. So the Generals are looking for their first ODAC men's basketball title since 1980. Virginia Wesleyan has won 6. The Marlins have won a national championship for head coach Dave Macedo, but they have not lifted the ODAC hardware in 5 years. 2014, the last conference title for the Marlins. This will be the third meeting of the season between the two teams. Virginia Wesleyan won at home 87-77 in December. The Generals returned the favor at the Duchess-Watt Tennis Center some 19 days ago, 75-59. We're going to hear the word rubber match from Washington and Lee head coach Chris McHugh, as a lot more is at stake here today. A spot in the conference semifinals. Someone's season will continue. In all likelihood, someone will be done for the 2018-19 campaign. We are just about 6 minutes or so away from tip-off. So here is second-year head coach Chris McHugh, who once played against this Virginia Wesleyan team on this court in the ODAC championship game. Joining me now is Washington and Lee head coach Chris McHugh. Chris, second season for you at the helm of your alma mater, 18 victories, the most for the program in 3 decades. Just talk a bit about the accomplishments in the regular season for your team.
Sure, it's been a great ride. I think our team has done a wonderful job this year of just answering the bell and just answering every single challenge that's come our way. We started way back in the fall with 2 Division I exhibitions against Radford and Davidson on back-to-back nights, and I think that set the tone for, no matter what the challenge is, let's go be ready to compete every night. We carried the lessons from those games into a really challenging non-conference schedule, and I think that helped prepare us for the ODAC, which this year I think is one of the best leagues in the country. And just day in, day out, we've had great buy-in from our guys, phenomenal leadership from really everybody on the team, and our upperclassmen have led the way in that regard. And we're looking to continue to improve like we've been doing all year. I mean, we won 5 in a row to close it out, which is great, but you wipe the slate clean, and now it's let's go play a tournament and try and keep this thing going.
Something that's been happening behind the scenes with WNL basketball. I know you're working really hard to build up the alumni base, and you've got a lot of former teammates who we've seen back a few times, but not just the guys you played with, but guys before that, guys after that. How have those efforts been coming together?
I think it's been coming together great, and it's so humbling, and we're so appreciative of the support of, like you said, not just guys that I played during my era with, but younger guys who just graduated, all the way back to folks who graduated decades ago, and we really appreciate that type of support. That really means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to our players to be able to have those opportunities to meet guys that wore the jerseys just like we do now. and connect and develop those relationships and make connections for hopefully these guys moving on forward and graduating, going on to lives and different careers. And I think it's a really neat thing when you bring together people from across different generations over the common bond of Generals basketball that we all share, because we all put in time and blood and sweat and tears and great moments and great victories and sad days and hard losses, and you go through that with your teammates, and to connect that with other folks has been really special, and I'm hoping we can continue to build that alumni support, and it's really been great how much alums have been sending kind notes and watching our games on the telecast and showing up. We got a stable of fans of alums that come to a lot of our games, so we really appreciate all that support and want to acknowledge it and thank them for what they do for us.
You'll be playing Virginia Wesleyan for the third time this season. You lost by 10 to the Marlins on the road in December, but a couple of weeks ago here in Lexington, you beat them by 16. Just a great defensive effort. What changed in the second meeting with the Marlins?
I think it's two really good teams battling it out. They got the upper hand, like you mentioned, at their place. I think in that game they dominated the offensive glass. They got upwards of, I believe it was 21 offensive rebounds in that first contest. So we wanted to make sure when they came back to our home court that we brought the physical intensity and really rebounded the basketball and guarded them and made them work for everything they got. So what better way to settle it than we split at our home court. Let's have a rubber match on a neutral site. They're a great team. We respect them. We respect Coach Macedo and their program and what they do. And we're looking forward to the challenge of, we think if we play our game, we're going to be really tough to beat for 40 minutes.
Playing in Salem always throws an extra wrinkle in everything, not just for your team, but for Virginia Wesleyan, for anybody who's going to take the court at the tournament. What are the keys to handling that atmosphere of postseason basketball?
Having fun, no question about it. I mean, what we've worked so hard, and like you mentioned, we've had a really successful season. We build habits every single day in practice and games. No matter how big the game, no matter how bright the lights, no matter whether it's elimination or go home if you lose, all about seizing that moment and enjoying it. If you try and squeeze it too tight, if you try and think about not losing, that's a bad recipe. If you think about enjoying it, having fun. We've been playing basketball all season. We've been growing as a team. What a great opportunity. If you bring that mindset and you're bringing energy and helping your teammates, we think that's a recipe for success. I mean, what better way? I mean, this is what you want to do. Not every team, by the time Thursday rolls around, there's already some teams in our league that are done for the year. And what a great accomplishment to still be going. Let's appreciate that. Let's enjoy that, and let's go let it all hang loose. We're not gonna play scared. We're not gonna play timid. We're not going to play afraid to lose. We're going to go try and win the game and enjoy doing it.
Coach, appreciate your time. Best of luck in the quarterfinals.
You bet. Thank you, Jeremy.
That's the voice of Washington and Lee head coach Chris McHugh, class of 2009. And in his junior campaign, he took the floor in the championship against Virginia Wesleyan. That's the Generals' opponent here in the quarterfinals today. Coverage on WLUR Lexington, 91.5 FM, and WLUR All Access, powered by First Team Broadcasting. Glad to have our viewers on ODACOnline.com as well. Jeremy Franklin with you. Courtside, number 4, Virginia Wesleyan, number 5, Washington and Lee. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by the Washington and Lee University Store. Owned and operated by W&L, the University Store is located right on campus in Elrod Commons. The store features a wide range of apparel celebrating Washington and Lee, including the Peter Millar Collegiate Collection, offering polos and sweaters for your game day style. If you're looking for workout gear, they have a variety of performance apparel from Nike and Under Armour. All proceeds go back to the Washington and Lee community, helping to fund athletic alumni and student programs. The store is open 7 days a week. Order online anytime at store.wlu.edu. Before our game gets underway, the all ODAC performers for both teams are being recognized. 5 of them total. On the Virginia Wesleyan side, we'll see Lamont Stewart and Tim Fisher, who were second and third team selections respectively. Roy McMillan named to the first team for Washington and Lee. Devin Kearns was a first team pick last year, second team honors during his senior season. And then the recipient of the first ever ODAC Defensive Player of the Year award is Washington and Lee's Curtis Mitchell, who has already tied the program's single season record for blocks, 75 on the year. The Generals as a team have broken the program mark and ranked 6th in the country in block shots, averaging almost 6 per game. So 87-77 Marlins on the 1st of December at the Batten Center. R.J. Nicholson had a career-high 20 for Virginia Wesleyan. Devin Kearns had a career-high in scoring with 28 points. The Generals got a 16-point win in Lexington less than 3 weeks ago. They held the Marlins to a 34% clip from the floor and forced 19 turnovers. Roy McMillan had 19 points. Curtis Mitchell with 13. Tyree Golston led Virginia Wesleyan in that game with 14 points. Starting lineups for this contest: first for the number 4 seed Virginia Wesleyan, 11-5 in the ODAC, 13-12 overall. Dave Macedo in his 19th season will send out Corey Pelham, 6'1" sophomore from Alexandria, Virginia. Keon Honore, 5'10" senior from Woodbridge, Virginia. R.J. Nicholson, 6'3" senior from Virginia Beach. Lamont Stewart, a 6'7" junior from Norfolk. And Tim Fisher, 6'6" sophomore from Richmond. Now for second year, head coach Chris McEwen, the Generals also 11-5 in the conference, 18-7 overall. The most victories for Washington and Lee men's basketball since the 1988-89 team. Won 20 games, finished 20-7. It's the regular 5 if you've been following the Generals this season. In the backcourt, Devin Kearns, 6'3" senior from Cibolo, Texas. Mark Lamendola, 6 foot first year from Pittsburgh. And William Brueggemann, 6'3", sophomore from Houston. The forwards, Roy McMillan, 6'5", senior from Raleigh, and Curtis Mitchell, a 6'8", sophomore from Chevy Chase, Maryland. Winner to face Randolph-Macon at 1 o'clock Saturday afternoon in the semifinals. The Yellow Jackets breezing by Randolph 79-42 in their quarterfinal earlier today. So the men's quarters all day Thursday here in Salem. The women's quarterfinals tomorrow. The Generals are the number 3 seed in that tournament, and they will take on number 6 Lynchburg in the nightcap at 8 o'clock. Men's semis Saturday afternoon. Women's semifinals Saturday night. Back-to-back championship games starting at 1 o'clock on Sunday. What a great weekend of basketball, as always, in store for us here at the Salem Civic Center. Glad to have you alongside. Rubber match, the terminology that was used by Chris McHugh. Round 3 between the Generals and the Marlins. The home team won both regular season meetings, and now they'll play for a spot in the conference semifinals. Washington and Lee number 4 in the latest South Region rankings, which means the Generals will be in the conversation for an at-large bid to the NCAA tournament if they do not win the ODAC title, but a loss today would probably nip those hopes in the bud. Roy McMillan, the first-team all-conference pick, 3rd in the league in scoring and 5th in rebounding, 18.4 points, 8.8 rebounds per game. Devin Kearns, 15 points and 4.6 assists per game. That assist number 2nd in the league. William Brueggemann averages 14.4 points. On the Marlins side, the 2 all-ODAC honorees, they're 2 leaders in both scoring and rebounding. Lamont Stewart averages 14.9 points and 6.2 boards. Tim Fisher, 13.1 points and 8.4 rebounds. And then the senior point guard, Keon Honore, 9.7 points and 3.6 assists. Marlins has the higher seed in white, Generals in blue. As we get underway, the tap between Fisher and Mitchell controlled by the Marlins. They go left to right, the Generals right to left here in the first half. Ball in the hands of Honore, guarded by Mark Lamendola as the Generals start off in man-to-man. Honore working left side. The feed inside. Lamont Stewart posting up on Brueggemann. Muscles it up. No good. Tim Fisher, the offensive rebound, and reverses for the stiff back. So Tim Fisher with the second chance basket. The Marlins had 21 offensive rebounds when they beat the Generals at the Batten Center in December. Roy McMillan right side, 3 up and good to get the Generals on the board. And Washington and Lee picking up some pressure. They took the ball away from the Marlins 19 times in the game in Lexington. Marlins no trouble with the press early on. Stewart has it out front. Hands off to Honore. Comes around to the wing. The 3 ball is up, no good for Pelham, and rebounded by McMillan, who came crashing into Mark Lamendola. Generals have it up 1, 19:04 to play first half. Devin Kearns stops left wing and feeds it out to Curtis Mitchell. Mitchell on the perimeter. Handing it back off to Devin Kearns. Gets to the foul line, shut down there by Pelham. Back to McMillan, 10 on the shot clock. McMillan drives, pulls up, 10-footer up, and good. Roy McMillan scores the first 5 points for the Generals. They lead it by 3. Stewart up the heart of the court for the Marlins. Lamendola gets a bunch of steals, reaches in, almost got one there. Marlins hang on. Pelham on the drive. McMillan with the block, close to the rim. William Brueggemann comes down with the basketball, runs the floor, left open, pops the 3. It's good, and it's 8-2 Generals, and an early timeout taken by Dave Macedo. depth perception in this building is big. There's a lot of open space behind the backboards that you don't see in most ODAC gyms, certainly not in the Generals interim home at the Duchess Watt Tennis Center, where you're very close to the wall there, but Washington and Lee no trouble adjusting here in the opening minutes. 18:25 to play, and they lead it 8-2. First 5 for Roy McMillan, then the 3 ball for William Brueggemann. Generals closed out the regular season with a big win, 74-69 at Guilford. The Quakers had already clinched the number 2 seed. Devin Kearns had 20, William Brueggemann 19 in that game. And that is a big part of why the Generals climbed up to number 4 in the regional rankings. They moved past Guilford, which came in at number 5. Those published yesterday. The last ones we'll see before the NCAA bracket comes out. Marlins have it out of the timeout, 8-2 Generals. Keon Honore at midcourt, guarded by Brueggemann. Honore dribbles left side, gets it to the wing to R.J. Nicholson. Back to Honore, now right side Stewart. Guarded by Lamendola, shot clock at 8. Stewart into the lane, kicks it back out to Nicholson, who launches the 3, won't go. Battle for the rebound, it's controlled by Brueggemann. Brueggemann, long pass down for to Curtis Mitchell. Hits the trailing Devin Kearns, who lays it up and in and gets fouled. What a start here for the Generals. They love to push the tempo. We'll see 40, 50, 60-foot passes. That one set up a chance. Curtis Mitchell, the extra pass, and a 3-point play chance for Devin Kearns with 17:50 to play in the first half. Free throw is up and good for Kearns. And an 11-2 lead for the Generals, who again set up their press. R.J. Nicholson, skip pass across to Pelham, who gets it over and puts it back in the hands of Honore. Honore against Lamendola. Still Honore around a Fisher screen. Gives it up to Stewart. Inside Fisher. Fisher losing his footing and he travels. Mark Lamendola was defending him on the switch there, but Fisher could not maintain his balance, and Virginia Wesleyan turns it over. Generals up by 9, 17:27 to play first half. Kearns up the left sideline, hands behind to McMillan. McMillan to the wing, gives it to Lamendola. Lamendola away to Kearns. Now to the baseline to McMillan. Squares to the rim against Pelham. McMillan drives. Pelham goes down, and player control is called. McMillan leading with the shoulder. And so he's hit with the charge. That's the first foul on Washington and Lee with 17:15 to play. Switch here for the Marlins. Tyree Golston, 6'1 sophomore from Virginia Beach, comes in. He had a team-best 14 points in the Marlins' loss in Lexington on the 2nd of this month. Did not play until 2019, so he was not a part of the Virginia Wesleyan win in December. 3 on the way for Stewart. That's good. Left alone as the Marlins brought it up to 4. Stewart knocks down the triple. It's 11-5. He struggled in the game in Lexington. Got 13 points, but was just 5 of 17 from the field. Devin Kearns on the right wing. Loose pass out front, run down by McMillan near midcourt. And then a deflection by Fisher as McMillan tried to get it to Mitchell. Out of bounds to the Generals with the shot clock at 15. Changes for Washington and Lee. Kevin Dennen, Mark Krogan, and Alex Starr all come in to play with Kearns and Brueggemann. Brueggemann will inbound from the sideline right in front of us and puts it into Kearns. Kearns attacking, gets to the rim, layup good. The blow-by for Devin Kearns, who's got 5 early points, and it's an 8-point Generals lead. More 2-2-1 pressure from Washington and Lee. Golston gets it shy of midcourt, brings it over the timeline, and then kicks it back to Stewart. Around to R.J. Nicholson on the left wing. Fisher offers the screen. Nicholson goes the other way, gets to the rim, reverse layup up and in. And the lead down to 6 for the Generals. Brueggemann top of the key. Brueggemann shot fake to the rim, layup no, spit out by the rim. And then the rebound knocked away from Krogan. It will stay Generals basketball. That layup attempt for Brueggemann hit both sides of the iron, would not fall. But the Generals keep it with a new 30-second clock. Kevin Dennen lobs it in out front to Kearns, who almost turned it over there. Ball slipped through his fingertips, but he got it back at midcourt. Kearns around to Krogan's screen, little pick-and-roll action. Kearns pass on a dime for Mark Krogan, who lays it up and in. Devin Kearns will end his career second all-time in program history in assist. At the other end, Stewart on the drive. The floater is up and good, so he's got 5 in the opening minutes. And it's 15-9 WNL, 15:49 to play. Devin Kearns top of the key. Krogan to get offering the screen. Kearns feeds it to the corner. Kevin Denon for 3. That's good. Kevin Denon among the ODAC leaders in three-point shooting. Knocks that one down, pushes the lead to 9. And Dave Macedo will spend an early timeout. We'll take a short break as well. 15:38 to play first half here in Salem. It's Washington and Lee, 18, Virginia Wesleyan 9.
In 50 feet, turn left. Why are you driving so slowly?
After a few drinks, I'm taking it slow.
Well, you're not fooling the cop behind you.
What?
Get ready to pay in 0.1 miles.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Washington and Lee leads the ODAC in scoring offense. The Generals average 84 a game. They put up 18 points in the first 4 minutes and 22 seconds of this ODAC quarterfinal. The Generals on top of Virginia Wesleyan 18-9. Good sign for WNL if Kevin Denon is regaining his shooting form. He was above 50% from 3 for most of the year. 10 of his last 34 from downtown. That's dropped his percentage all the way down to 46.4. which just about any shooter at any level of basketball would take without questions asked. Denon hits his first attempt. 5 different players have scored for Washington and Lee. 5 apiece for Devin Kearns and Roy McMillan. 5 for Lamont Stewart on the Virginia Wesleyan side. Marlin basketball. Honore into Stewart. Back to Honore as the Generals continue to press. Marlins get it over to Stewart. He'll take it into the lane. Pull up just inside the foul line to knock down another jumper. Stewart has come to play. Now can the Marlins get some stops? Devin Kearns on the left wing, guarded by Nicholson, comes out front to Brueggemann. Right side, Mark Krogan. Krogan on the perimeter, moving away from the rim. Gets it back to Kearns. Kearns around the pick from Krogan, pulls up, foul line jumper, no. Rebounded by Honore. 18-11, 15:04 to play. Honore long transition pass to Fisher, doubled under the rim, but he was right under the basket and able to muscle off the 2 defenders and lay it up and in. Marlins within 5. Kearns on the attack at the other end. Good block by R.J. Nicholson, who stayed between Kearns and the rim. Nicholson runs the floor, hits Honore. Thought he might pull the trigger on the 3. Instead, he'll give it over to Fisher. Back to Honore. Foul line extended left side. Fisher sets the screen. Honore now inside to Tim Fisher. Skip pass to the corner. R.J. Nicholson is open. 3 ball, no good. But Stewart wins the battle for the rebound. Fresh shot clock for the Marlins. Nicholson kicks it out to Tyree Golston, ready to shoot. He buries the 3, and Virginia Wesleyan right back within 2. Tyree Golston hits. It's 18-16. 14-14 to go. Krogan top of the key. 1 dribble, hands it off to Alex Starr. Starr pulls up at the free throw line, way off target on the jump shot. Long rebound control by Stewart. He almost ran into Nicholson in the open floor. Then he leaps over Alex Starr, fires up the 3. No. Acrobatic play on 2 occasions during that sequence just to set up a chance. Generals have the rebound, and now Chris McHugh will take a timeout. A 7-0 Virginia Wesleyan run since the last stoppage. A breathless pace in the early going here in Salem. ODAC quarterfinal. The number 4 seed Virginia Wesleyan, number 5 seed Washington and Lee. These 2 teams part of a 4-way tie for 3rd place in the ODAC standings. All finished 11-5 in the league. The other 2 teams that were even with WNL and Virginia Wesleyan, Lynchburg and Roanoke. That's the 3-6 matchup at 8 o'clock tonight. In between, number 2 seed Guilford will take on the defending champion, number 7 Emory and Henry. The Wasps 9-7 in the ODAC in the regular season, but because it was so crowded up top, dropping all the way down to 7. Roy McMillan, Mark Lamondola, Curtis Mitchell, Trey Lewis, and Kevin Denon for the Generals out of the timeout. For Virginia Wesleyan, Lamont Stewart, Tyree Golston, Corey Pelham, and then a couple of new players, Taylor Major and Kelvin Nicholson. Out for the Marlins, had a clock issue. The issue being that the clock did not start when the ball was put in play. 13:54 becomes 13:52, and the Generals will have it at midcourt now. Lamondola across the timeline. Gets it over to McMillan. Now left side to Lewis. Lewis hands off to McMillan, top of the key. 12 on the shot clock. McMillan will give it back to Lamondola. Now to Mitchell on the baseline, 6 to shoot. What can Mitchell make happen here against Nicholson? Nothing. He dribbles it off his foot and out of bounds back to the Marlins with the shot clock down to 2. Virginia Wesleyan maybe tightening things up on the defensive end after the Generals had their red-hot start. It's a 2-point game. 13:27 to go. Into Taylor Major. Back to Golston with the Generals continuing to press. Golston brings it up against Lewis. Tough pass, good handled by Calvin Nicholson, but then he throws it away right to Dennett in the middle of the paint. At the other end, McMillan. McMillan on the drive. The floater is up off the glass and good. 7 for Roy McMillan, and it's 20-16. Golston and Stewart working up against the press. Hasn't really bothered the Marlins yet. Pelham gets it wing left side, kicks it inside to Kelvin Nicholson, posting up on Mitchell. Turnaround is good. That one dropped right in off the back iron. Best shot blocker in the ODAC, Curtis Mitchell. Kelvin Nicholson shoots right over top of him. 2-point game, 12:42 to go. Mitchell top of the key. Hands off to Trey Lewis. Lewis will give it up to McMillan, who's guarded by Stewart. McMillan to the foul line. Lost the handle. Lewis there to scoop up the loose ball. 8 to shoot. Lewis on the drive. Gets to the rim. Taylor Major with the rejection. And back the other way comes Golston. Golston into the lane. Pulls up. 12-footer. No. And a foul on the rebound on the Marlins. That'll be on Kelvin Nicholson. Haven't had a lot of whistles in the early going. That's just the second team foul on the Marlins. Only one called so far on Washington and Lee. That was a player control foul on Roy McMillan. Devin Kearns, William Brueggemann back in. Out go Lewis and Denon. 2-point game. The Generals on top 20-18 with 12:18 left in the first half. Percy Burt will make his first appearance for the Marlins as well. The 6'7 junior out of Fredericksburg. Now Virginia Wesleyan with some pressure. No trouble for the Generals. Brueggemann's got it. In the half-court set now. Hands off to McMillan. Kicks it over to Lamondola. Back to Brueggemann on the right wing. Brueggemann travels. Shot fake to get Taylor Major out of the way, but then he took steps before putting the ball on the deck. It's just the second turnover for WNO. Only one so far for the Marlins. Both teams shooting over 50%. Tyree Golston around a Kelvin Nicholson screen. Works it inside to Nicholson. Spins off of Brueggemann. Lost the ball for a moment. Got it back. But in the meantime, that gave the Generals a chance to get coverage there defensively. The shot is a miss, but then there's a foul on the rebound on Washington and Lee. That'll go against Mark Lamondola, and it will keep possession with the Marlins. Tim Fisher back in for Virginia Wesleyan. New 30-second clock. As Pelham will drop it into Burt. Guarded by Lamondola on the perimeter. Puts the ball in the hands of Pelham. Across to Golston. Now left side to Major. To the baseline to Fisher. Trying to back down McMillan. Mitchell there as well. Ball skipped around. Golston left side. Won't take the three against Brueggemann. Now away to Fisher. 9 to shoot. Fisher lost it. Burt got it back. Layup is good. And that'll tie the score at 20. At the other end, Lamondola hands off to Mitchell. Thought about the threes, hit a couple of those. Instead gives up to Mark Lamondola, and he buries the triple from the top of the key. First postseason points of his career. Mark Lamondola, who has started 21 games this season, including today. And the Generals back up by 3. Percy Burt trying to answer. He misses the long jumper. Mitchell has the rebound knocked away, but it goes right to Brueggemann. Runs it up the center of the floor. Still going. Brueggemann to the rim. Lays it up and in against Pelham. Second basket for Brueggemann. 25-20 WNL. 10:40 to play. Entertaining first half so far. Pelham foul line extended left side. Kicks it out front to Burt. Back to Pelham. Ready to shoot on the wing, and he knocks down the triple. First points for Pelham, and the Marlins pull back within 2. Lamondola, quick release at the other end, in and out on the 3. Rebound to Mitchell, trying to go up strong, and Tim Fisher there with the block. Curtis Mitchell, number one in the ODAC and block shots, but both Fisher and Stewart for the Marlins are in the top 5. And Mitchell gets one at the other end as Golston goes right at him and has the shot swatted. Kearns running the floor at the other end. Layup, good, and one. What a finish. Kearns through contact high off the glass and in. Chance for his second three-point play of the opening 10 minutes. Foul is the second on Corey Pelham. So a block for Tim Fisher at one and a block for Curtis Mitchell at the other, and now a three-point play chance for Devin Kearns. Tim Fisher is third in the conference in block shots. Lamont Stewart is tied for fourth. Curtis Mitchell leading the way, averaging 3 per game. And that last block should give him sole possession of the WNL single season record. Kearns rattles home the free throw, his 8th point, and it's 28-23, 10 minutes left here in the first half. Brought ahead by Stewart. Kevin Denton back in the ball game and defending on the play. Around to Jordan White, who just checked in for the Marlins. Keon Honore on the right side. Over to Nicholson. A lob inside looking for Fisher. He was battling for post position. I think they're going to get Kevin Denton for the hold. That is exactly what they do. First on Denton, third team foul. And the Marlins will take it out with a shot clock at 20. Game clock at 9:44. And a 5-point Washington in lead advantage. Honore hands it off to R.J. Nicholson. Close range inbounds pass there. Comes back out to Honore left side. 3 is up, and it gets wedged between the rim of the backboard. That is a held ball, and the Generals will get it back on the alternating possession. That's also a team dead ball rebound for Washington and Lee. There's your obscure basketball statistic of the day. Roy McMillan out front for the Generals, up 28-23. Comes around to Mark Krogan. Screen fires up the 3 ball short, but the long rebound out to Trey Lewis as WNL can reset with a new 30-second clock. Out front to Denon. Away to Mark Krogan. Krogan working on the wing against Fisher. Kicks it back to Lewis. Lewis around the screen, gets it to McMillan. 13 on the shot clock. McMillan shot fake, gets to the rim, lays it up, no. And the rebound to Jordan White. Ahead comes Honore. Honore bodied up by Lewis. Too much contact out front. Lewis hit with the foul. That's his first. And the team's fourth. 8:58 left. Out of the opening 20, Washington and Lee 28, Virginia Wesleyan 23. 4-5 matchup here in the ODAC quarterfinals in Salem. Honore working up top for the Marlins. High post pass goes to Tim Fisher. Fisher inside Stewart. Got the shorter matchup of Lewis on him. Kick to Honore, who launches the 3. That won't go. And Denon has it for the Generals. Denon to the left side at the other end. Picks up his dribble on the perimeter. Needs some help. Finally, Brueggemann gets open. Brueggemann guarded by Golston. Krogan offers the screen. Brueggemann stop and pop 3 ball. Good. William Brueggemann with his second hit from downtown. And the Generals stretch the lead back out to 8. Walked up by Stewart. The Generals, at least for now, had backed off the 2-2-1. It wasn't really having a big impact on Virginia Wesleyan. It did in the game in Lexington where the Marlins turned it over 19 times. Stewart, oh, what a nice spin from the foul line. Goes for the jam and bricks it. And now Brueggemann off and running. Brueggemann, finger roll, no. And the ball grabbed by Tyree Golston. Stewart went for the emphatic finish. A finger roll on his end would have done the trick. Stewart from the left corner, off target on the 3. Rebound, tap to Fisher, who floats it up. That will not go all the way around the rim and would not fall. Brueggemann has it, outlet to Kearns. Stomps at the left elbow at the other end. 7:36 to play first half. Generals up by 8. Mark Krogan away to Brueggemann. He's open. Left side 3 won't go this time. And the rebound to Tim Fisher. At the other end, Keon Honore calls the play. Starts with a Fisher screen. Trying to run the pick and roll. Is well defended. Fisher gets it eventually on the baseline. Feeds the cutter, Tyree Golston. Good pass, good finish, and there's a Generals foul as well. Tyree Golston will have a chance for an old-fashioned three-pointer. Be the first foul on William Brueggemann. Tyree Golston, the sophomore from Virginia Beach, Made his season debut on January 3rd. Started in 7 of the Marlins' last 13 regular season games. Season high 15 against Roanoke in January, 14 points in a career best, 9 rebounds in the game against W&L at the DTC. 5 points so far for Golston. Make it 6 as he knocks down the free throw, and it's 31-26 Generals. Just over 7 minutes to go. At the other end, Mark Lamendola stops just outside the paint, kicks to Denon, a wide open three, and it rattles home. Can't leave that guy all alone on the perimeter. Second make from beyond the arc for Denon, 34-26 Generals. Taylor Major, wing right side for the Marlins. He's given space, launches the three, it won't go. And the rebound run down by Alex Starr. Ahead to Brueggemann, working up the right sideline. Chasing to the corner by Honore. And now feeds it back out to Lamendola. Lamendola back to Brueggemann. Hands it off to Starr. 12 to shoot. Starr inside Mitchell. Mitchell driving in. Gets underneath the rim and gets Kelvin Nicholson up in the air and draws the foul. And that'll be the second on Kelvin Nicholson. And a pair of free throws for Curtis Mitchell coming up on the other side of a timeout here. 6:25 to play first half here at the Salem Civic Center. It's Washington and Lee 34, Virginia Wesleyan 26 in the ODAC quarterfinals. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Chris Pine. Children's Miracle Network hospitals are amazing places. It takes tremendous resources to care for sick and injured kids and to keep them smiling and laughing even during their toughest treatments. That's why donations are so very important. Please join me in supporting your children's hospital so every kid has a chance to get better. Put your money where the miracles are. Give to your Children's Miracle Network Hospital.
My name is Lola Silvestri, and I'm going to be 95 this year. I was very independent. I fell, and I had to have Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Jeremy Franklin with you courtside here at the Salem Civic Center. 4-5 game in the 2019 ODAC men's basketball quarterfinals. And tomorrow night we'll have the Washington and Lee women in action. They finished third in the ODAC in the regular season. And we'll take on the number 6 seed Lynchburg. 8 o'clock, it's the late game in the women's quarters on Friday. Live coverage starting at 7:55. Curtis Mitchell at the foul line coming out of the timeout. Knocks down the free throw for his first point. ODAC Defensive Player of the Year. Led the conference and ranked 8th in the country in blocks. The Generals are 6th as a team. Mitchell, statistically not a great foul shooter, 44%. He hits both. The Generals get a steal. Kevin Denon feeds it to Lamendola. He misses the layup. Denon grabs the rebound, and it's knocked out by the Marlins. Haven't seen a lot of turnovers, but Washington and Lee creating one there. The 2 free throws for Mitchell put the Generals up 36-26, and the dead ball will allow Roy McMillan and Devin Kearns, the other 2 All-ODAC performers for Washington and Lee, to check back in. Kearns will inbound. Bob out front. Good catch by Lamendola. R.J. Nicholson trying to swipe it. Denon gets it back. Open left corner three. No. Off the back iron that time. And Tyree Golston secures the rebound. Just over 6 minutes left first half. 10-point lead for the Generals. Golston working out front. Stops at the elbow. Lob inside. What a tough pass. And a nice catch by Nicholson. Kicks it back to Stewart. Left side, Major. Another lob inside for Nicholson. Touch pass to the wing to R.J. Nicholson. Tried to get it back to Kelvin. The ball knocked away and stolen. Generals have it. Kearns in the open floor. Away to McMillan. Fires up the three. No good, but a late closeout and a foul will put Roy McMillan at the line for 3 shots. McMillan already with 7 points. Been shooting really well at the free throw line as of late. Had a stretch where he was 7 of 19 during his 7-game span. First one on its way up and good. including that make over the last 7 games. He is 36 of 39 at the line. Second one good. Whatever change he made, or maybe it was just extra reps before or after practice, it's really working well on the year. McMillan at 71% at the foul line, came in ranked 20th all time in career scoring. And he makes all 3 free throws here. 10 for McMillan. It's 39-26 Washington in the lead. More pressure from the Generals. Good long pass to Burt, who gets it over to Fisher. Now Stewart into the lane, throws it back to the wing and throws it away. Thought he had R.J. Nicholson in a different spot, and the ball goes right to Damon Williams, the 4th official at the scores table. He has a chuckle with the guys over there about being ready to shoot next time. He was a great player across town from Washington and Lee. He and his twin brother Raymond played at VMI. Another timeout called here by Virginia Wesleyan. The Marlins trying to figure things out in the first half. 5:32 to play, and Washington and Lee with a 39-26 advantage. The Generals looking very crisp on the offensive end so far. They won at this stage last season, beat Guilford 81-63 in the quarterfinal. Would lose to Roanoke in the semis last year. The Generals, as a lower seed, won their quarterfinal matchup in 2017, upset the number 2 seed Randolph-Macon. The winner of this game will get the Yellow Jackets, who won the regular season title and blew out Randolph 79-42 in the first quarterfinal here today. Virginia Wesleyan missed this round last year. The Marlins were part of that tie for second with Washington and Lee and a couple of other teams, but they were upset at home by Randolph in the first round. Previous quarterfinal for Virginia Wesleyan, a 102-93 win against Lynchburg 2 years ago, behind 34 points from Corey Moore. 13-point lead for the Generals here, 5:32 to play first half. Coming out of the timeout for Virginia Wesleyan, Lamont Stewart, R.J. Nicholson, Percy Burt, Tyree Golston, and Tim Fisher. For the Generals, Curtis Mitchell, Kevin Dinnan, William Brueggemann, Devin Kearns, and Roy McMillan. McMillan's got 10, Kearns has 8, so does Brueggemann. Lamont Stewart has 7, Tyree Golston with 6 for the Marlins. Here's a good feed inside, Devin Kearns to set up the layup for Curtis Mitchell. Finishes through some contact there, and it's a 15-point lead for W&L. Ahead comes Golston. Works it to R.J. Nicholson, dribbling on the right wing. Bounce pass away to Percy Burt. Burt stops at the elbow. Kick back out to Golston. Golston step back 3, won't go against Brueggemann. McMillan and Stewart battle for the rebound. Stewart wins that battle and then gets fouled on his second chance attempt. Foul is on Kevin Dinnan. That's his second. And Lamont Stewart to the line for the first time. Junior out of Norfolk. Second team All-Lodax selection for the second straight year. He led the Marlins in scoring and rebounding last season. Leading in points this year, second on the team behind Tim Fisher in rebounding. Had a double-double. Check that. Tim Fisher, the man with a double-double in the home game against Washington and Lee, 15 and 11. Lamont Stewart had 11 points at home against the Generals, 13 away. Knocks down both free throws here, and it's 41-28 Washington and Lee. Kearns on the attack, double team down low, kicks it out to the wing, looking for Dinnan. The ball knocked out of bounds by Stewart, and it will belong to the Generals with a shot clock at 15, game clock at 4:37. Sideline inbounds play. Dinnan will put it into the deep backcourt to Kearns. Now McMillan in the high post. Shot fake against Stewart. McMillan, 6 to shoot, picks up his dribble, hands it off to Kearns. Deep 3 on the wing is good for Devin Kearns. What a shot. Hand in his face. Possession clock winding down, and Kearns buries it to make it a 16-point game. Set his career high with 28 points against Virginia Wesleyan in the loss on the road in December. He's got 11 so far today. At the other end, Tim Fisher backing down Dinnan, who's playing with 2 fouls. Fisher wills that ball into the hoop. He's got 6 points, 44-30, and a turnover at the other end. Devin Kearns and Roy McMillan rarely not quite on the same page. But that time the pass a little too strong off of Roy's fingertips and out of bounds back to the Marlins. Those two seniors, the first members of the same graduating class to have over 1,000 points apiece. First time that's happened for Washington and Lee since 1991. There were 3 players in the class of 91, Chris Jacobs, Ed Hart, and Mike Holton. Chris Jacobs is still in the career top 10. Tyree Golston just across midcourt for the Marlins. 3:45 to play first half. Washington and Lee up by 14. Golston, bounce pass to the left wing to Stewart. Inside to Fisher, trying to back down Mitchell. Fisher driving right at Mitchell, floats it up and good. Tim Fisher has 8, 44-32. At the other end, Devin Kearns, great first step. He misses the shot. Mitchell's tap, no. Now the rebound swatted out front to McMillan. Hands off to Kearns. New 30-second clock for the Generals. Kearns working up top against Golston. Still Kearns with his dribble. Now Golston reaches in looking for a steal, and instead he'll pick up the foul. His first and team foul number 6. In fact, 6 fouls each way, so the next one will put the opponent in the bonus. 3:07 to go, 44-32. Shot clock will be at 20 for the Generals after the foul. Kearns giving it over to Brueggemann, wing left side. Out top to Mitchell. To the right wing to Lamendola. Lamendola, top of the arc, Mitchell. Now Mitchell trying to drive it on Fisher. Mitchell the post up, got Fisher up in the air, and then took steps before laying it up and in. Turnover number 4 for the Generals. Those two guys, Fisher and Mitchell, have 2 more years of going head-to-head, both sophomores. Trey Lewis back in for the Generals along with Mark Krogan. They replace Mitchell and Brueggemann. Press break for the Marlins. Corey Pelham gets a deep left corner. Tough pass to the wing, stolen away by Kearns. Outlet to McMillan. 3-on-2 for the Generals. McMillan, a floater, no good. And the rebound, last touch by Lamendola. Could have gotten a better shot there. And it will be Marlin basketball with 2:37 to play. Tried the teardrop from about 10 feet away instead of going all the way to the rim. Tyree Golston on the left side, into the corner to Jordan White. Bad pass underneath, trying to lob to Fisher. It goes right to Lamendola. Mark Lamendola stops at the other end. Feeds it up top to Devin Kearns. Kearns away to Lewis. Now McMillan. Back to Devin Kearns on the wing. Kearns on the drive, gets to the rim and lays it up and in. He wins that one-on-one matchup with Jordan White. Made it look pretty easy that time. And now a timeout taken by the Generals. Will step aside, 2:06 to play first half. It's Washington and Lee 46, Virginia Wesleyan 32 here in the ODAC quarterfinals in Salem.
Come on, smile. Oh, honey, he's still not smiling.
Maybe he's not a smiler.
Yeah, maybe he's just not a happy baby.
Maybe he's just being a boy.
Or maybe he's teething.
Maybe it's just a phase.
Maybe he has autism, and we can definitely do something to help.
Maybe is all you need to find out more about autism. No big, joyful smiles by 6 months is one early sign. Learn the others at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Just over 2 minutes remaining before the break here at the Salem Civic Center. Devin Kearns putting together a big first half, 13 points for the second team All-ODAC selection. That's taken him over 1,400 for his career. He only needed 1 to get there. Came in at 1399. He's currently 13th all-time in scoring. Next up, if he can get a few more markers either today or if the Generals should advance later on this weekend, he will pass an All-American, Pat Dennis, class of 1978, who is 12th all-time with 1,428 points. Kearns now at 1,412. Second all-time with 380 assists coming in, and unless he has 300 this weekend, he will finish in second. The record held by one of Pat Dennis's teammates, beg your pardon. Mike Winkie, class of 79, had 683. I bet a lot of those were setting up shots for Mr. Dennis. Generals up 14. Virginia Wesleyan dealing again with Washington and Lee's pressure. Keon Nonore has it just across midcourt. Bounce pass ahead to Lamont Stewart at the right elbow, guarded by McMillan. Away to Honore, back to Stewart. Now the handoff to Honore, gets it inside to Tim Fisher. Working on Curtis Mitchell, post up, shot is good. Tim Fisher's had a great first half. Even with the Odak's leading shot blocker defending him on most possessions, Fisher's got 10, it's 46-34. Trey Lewis, top of the arc at the other end, skip to the corner to Lamondola, back to McMillan on the wing. McMillan will hand off to Kearns. Kearns into the lane, Kearns to the rim, the runner no, he's moving away from the basket when he put the shot up. It's well off target. Honore's got it at the other end. Minute 15 left, 12-point game. Stewart from the top of the arc spins into the lane. Curtis Mitchell got a piece of this shot, which is no good, and the rebound run down by McMillan. Final minute of the first half. Washington and Lee's been in front most of the way. Turnover here. McMillan throws it off the shoulders of Pelham. It's grabbed by Golston. Golston at the other end fakes the three, drives inside. The runner no good. Rebound tapped to Golston. He kicks to Honore, who steps into a three ball. That won't fall. Mitchell's got it. 44 seconds to go. 46-34 Generals. Devin Kearns on the left wing, guarded by Pelham. Generals slowing it down just for a moment here. Shot clock at 12. Kearns back at midcourt. Gives it up to McMillan. Well away from the rim. 6 to shoot. Starts it ahead to Mitchell. Away to McMillan. Got to take this here. Ball knocked away by Stewart. Out of bounds to the Generals, but the shot clock is at 1. 15.9 seconds left in the half. And a tough spot to inbound from the corner of the baseline for Kearns, and you have to get something right off the inbounds play here. They can run a lob from McMillan to go to the rim, but not from this angle. That would be tough. Kearns lobs it underneath the basket, and it's caught there by the Marlins' Tim Fisher, and a double dribble call on Virginia Wesleyan. So the Generals, a turnover was not an unlikely outcome there, whether it was off the inbounds pass or on a shot clock violation, but the Marlins returned the favor, and now the Generals have it back with 13.9 seconds to go. Chance to add to a 12-point lead. Tough lob, great catch by McMillan with R.J. Nicholson right up on him. Now Denon back to Kearns, 8 to go. Kearns on the left side against Nicholson. 4 seconds left. Kearns into the lane. Fade away, 12-footer. Almost rolling in at the buzzer. It drops off the side of the iron, and Washington and Lee will have to be content to take a 12-point lead into halftime. ODAC quarterfinals here in Salem. The 4-5 game has the number 5 seed on top. At the break, it's the Generals 46 and Virginia Wesleyan 34. You're listening to our live coverage on WLUR and WLUR All Access, and watching online on ODAConline.com. Back for more from Salem after a short break.
Hi, I found a toy dinosaur over on the playground by Smith Street. It had this phone number on it, and, well, I just wanted to make sure the dinosaur made it back to its little owner.
When I found the little sippy cup, I just had to give you a call. It's for a kid, you know?
I know my son gets super attached to the smallest things, even a fire truck, and I'd be happy to drop it off.
We'd do anything for kids, yet 1 in 6 children in the U.S. struggle with hunger. Help end childhood hunger near you. Learn how at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
You wanted to be a teacher when you were little, but as you grew up, things changed. Teaching just didn't seem like the best option anymore, so you decided to become something else. But what would your 12-year-old self say? Interesting and innovative things are happening in teaching today, so it's time to put it back on your list. Don't try to convince yourself otherwise. You had it right the first time.
Find out how you can make more at teach.org. Make more. Teach. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
The Rockbridge Area Health Center is a community health center providing family medicine, pediatrics, women's health, dental, behavioral health, and prenatal services to uninsured, underinsured, and insured residents of Rockbridge County and the surrounding areas. Our AHC's current building expansion will allow us to better meet the needs of our community. The health center offers a variety of discount programs, including help with the cost of appointments and prescriptions. For more information, visit rockahc.org or call us at 540-464-8700.
180 over 111, and I had a stroke.
145 over 92, and then I had a heart attack.
150 over 90, and I had a stroke.
This is what high blood pressure sounds like. You might not feel its symptoms, but the results from a heart attack or stroke are far from silent. Get back on your treatment plan or talk with your doctor to create a plan that works for you. Go to loweryourhbp.org.
Everything's changed.
Brought to you by the American Heart Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
Halftime here in Salem in the ODAC men's basketball quarterfinals, and number 5 seed Washington and Lee leads the number 4 seed Virginia Wesleyan 46-34. Jeremy Franklin with you, joined by WNL Associate Sports Information Director Chip Whipple. And great first half so far for the Generals, shooting the ball very well from the outside, 7 of 11 from three-point range.
Yeah, this Generals team this season is difficult to beat on any given night. They're really tough when they're shooting 63% from three. All the threes right now are coming in the flow of the offense, and when that's happening, the ball's moving, bodies are moving. It's just hard as the opponent to stay with your man the whole time, especially with how quick the Generals want to get up and down the floor. You just lose your man in transition. All of a sudden, they're throwing up a three before you know where they are.
And 5 different players have hit three-point shots, so it's not like just 1 or 2 guys are knocking them down from the outside. Several Generals have been involved on the perimeter.
Yeah, I mean, your usual suspects are Brueggemann, Denon, but Kearns hit one at the end of a shot clock where you just, if you're the opponent, you just throw your hands up in the air. Roy got one. Lamondola is 1 for 2. I mean, if you're getting that spread, if you're WNL, that's what you're looking for coming into this game. You want to force Virginia Wesleyan to have to think about where everyone is for all 40 minutes. And if you're doing that, you're hoping the mental fatigue, the physical fatigue gets into them, and you can just continue to extend the lead in the second half.
We've been trying to put this season in perspective, the last couple of years in perspective for Washington and Lee. But these have been 2 of the best seasons for Generals basketball in the last 30, 40 years. The 18 wins coming in, the most for Washington and Lee since 1988-89. First time the Generals have had consecutive winning seasons within ODAC play. They went 11-5 last year, 11-5 this season. First time that's happened since the early 1980s. This is such a tough conference in men's basketball, and that makes the Generals' accomplishments, I think, all that much more remarkable.
I mean, you look at it, they go 11-5 in conference, and then they're 5 seed in the ODAC tournament.
Sure,
I mean, it just shows you the level of competition that you're playing week in, week out in this conference, on the road, at home. It's just difficult to have sustained success. And for this team, obviously in Coach McHugh's second year, they came together the first year. They've stuck with what worked. They've improved upon it, and they've continued to just progress as the year has gone along, and is now going into the tournament. They're looking to continue to take that next step.
And Washington and Lee has put up a lot of points over the last 2 years, led the conference in scoring offense this season at 84 points per game. But how about the blocks record, the single-season program record going down this season? Washington and Lee may give up some points on the defensive end, but they are second in the ODAC in field goal percentage defense. And obviously when you have guys like Curtis Mitchell and Roy McMillan protecting the rim, it's going to be tough to score close to the basket.
I mean, their starting lineup, they have 5 really good defenders. Kearns and Brueggemann aren't necessarily the guys you're necessarily going to put as lockdown defenders, but Kearns is in the top 10 all-time in steals. I think he's 6th. And then Mark Lamondola, as a first year, is just a pressure guard. I mean, he frequently deals with foul trouble because of the type of pressure that he puts on defenders. And then, like you said, when your back line is there and has a combined over 100 blocks on the season, I mean, it just leads to you don't have to be perfect all the time defensively if you're those guards, because you know there's help behind you.
And it's helped the Generals, obviously, this season to have such a tremendous senior class. When you look at what Roy McMillan and Devin Kearns have done record-wise, they'll both finish in the top 20 in career scoring. Kearns will be second all-time in assist. And then one of those great program guys in Alex Starr, who does everything you ask him to do, and sometimes a little bit more than that. A big part of why the Generals think they have a shot to do some damage in Salem.
Yeah, I mean, those 3 guys came in, and obviously it was kind of at a little bit of a lull in the program in terms of record, and they stuck with it. Obviously, there's a coaching change in between of that, and sometimes guys can fall out of programs, guys can lose the dedication, the interest, and those 3 guys have clearly bought in. They want to leave WNL having done something that hasn't been done in decades, and however this tournament plays out, I think they've already accomplished that. I mean, this team is, I believe, a team that nobody else in the tournament wants to face. I mean, we're a style that's just mentally and physically draining, and the Generals will just keep coming at you for all 40 minutes.
W&L has not won an ODAC title in men's basketball since 1980. The Generals came as close as they ever had when Chris McHugh was a player here and lost to Virginia Wesleyan in the 2009 championship contest. Another piece of the puzzle right now for Washington and Lee, though, the regional rankings that came out yesterday, and the Generals are sitting up at number 4. I said during the pregame, if they lose to Virginia Wesleyan, they're not getting in that large bid. But it will be interesting to see if Washington and Lee can progress here up by 12 at halftime, especially if they could get a feather in the cap kind of win against Randolph-Macon tomorrow. What might happen if the Generals don't win the AQ, don't win the ODAC title? At least have a chance. They will at least be in the conversation for a Pool C.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't, in recent memory, I don't think we've ever been in the conversation for that at-large position. But yeah, I mean, they're 4th in the region right now. If they advance to the championship, they would have beaten a team above them in the region, the number 1 team in the region, so that just bumps you up farther. Depending on who wins some other conference tournaments in the South region, that could put them at the 3rd team maybe in the region. And if you're the 3rd team in a region and the first one in front, the one of the 2 in front of you has an AQ, then you're the 2nd at large coming out of that region. And so that's huge when it comes to, the detailed process of picking those playoff teams. And so to be in a position now where you kind of, obviously come into this tournament, you want to win the whole thing, get the AQ, not have to worry about it, but be able to, throughout the course of the season, you're now in a spot where maybe you win a couple games and then you wait and see, and you're still alive in that scenario.
Keys to the second half for the Generals, who lead 46-34.
I think the keys always for this team is they have to continue to move the ball. It can't get stagnant. It can't get one person trying to take over. And obviously, it's probably unrealistic to ask for them to continue shooting 63% from the three-point line. But whenever that lull might happen, whether it be a 1 minute or 2 minute, 3 minute lull, to not let that affect the rest of your game. So you're still playing intense on defense. You're still moving the ball. Your shots are going to start falling again. I think sometimes this year the team has gotten into those situations where maybe the shots aren't falling and some other things start to drop, and you just can't let those things happen. And I think if they play the rest of the game, the shots will take care of themselves, and they'll put them in a position to beat the Marlins for the first time in the ODAC tournament.
Well, Chip, we thank you for joining us here at the break. We'll let you go enjoy the second half.
Thank you.
Chip Whipple, the Associate Sports Information Director here at Washington and Lee, as the Generals lead Virginia Wesleyan 46-34, halftime of the ODAC quarterfinals in Salem. We'll take a short break and come back with first half statistics. Stay with us here on WLUR and WLUR All Access.
When Dad needed help getting around, I became his driver. Soon enough, it was up to me to be his housekeeper and financial manager, too. When he moved in, I became his cook and even his nurse. But no matter what roles I play, I know I'm still his daughter.
We understand the roles you play. So to help, we created aarp.org/caregiving, where you can connect with experts and other caregivers. Visit aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
When you went car shopping, you meant business. You aced vehicle history searches and test drives. You out-salesmaned the salesman. Now you've got your wheels. If you manage that, you can get your retirement plan on track. Visiting aceyourretirement.org can help. With 401k tips and smart saving strategies, you'll have the info you need to get more for your future. Go to aceyourretirement.org, because when it comes to speeding past financial challenges, you're an ace. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
You're not wired to have a response to this sound. You're neutral to it, and you can hear it repeatedly without feeling anything. But when we introduce a new stimulus, save the food, we've achieved pulling a natural or inborn response from you. Save the food, because 40% of all food in the US never gets eaten. Save the food. Cook it, store it, share it. Just don't waste it. For tips and recipes, visit savethefood.com. Brought to you by NRDC and the Ad Council.
Quick look at some halftime statistics here in this ODAC quarterfinal matchup in Salem. It's Washington and Lee, 46, Virginia Wesleyan, 34. The Generals shot 48.5% from the field, 16 of 33, but 7 of 11 from downtown and 7 of 7 at the foul line. Virginia Wesleyan 14 of 34 from the floor, 41%, only 3 of 13 from three. Made all 3 of their free throws as well. Rebounding and turnovers pretty much even. Rebounding dead even, in fact, 18 boards apiece. 7 Generals turnovers, 8 committed by the Marlins. Individually, 10 points and 5 rebounds for Tim Fisher, 9 points for Lamont Stewart, and then 6 points and 4 boards for Tyree Golston. On the Generals side, Devin Kearns, 13 points, 3 assists and 2 steals. Roy McMillan had 10 points. William Brueggemann, 8 points and 4 rebounds. 6 points on a couple of made threes for Kevin Denon. And then 4 points, 3 assists, and a record-setting block for Curtis Mitchell, now in sole possession of the single-season program record, 76 blocks during his sophomore campaign. He breaks the mark set by Rob Smitherman back in 1978-79. So 20 minutes back on the clock when we come back to find out who plays Randolph-Macon, the number 1 seed, in Saturday afternoon semifinal round. Again, our score at the break, the Generals 46 and the Marlins 34.
When is the best time to talk to your family about staying in touch during a disaster? When floodwaters reach your door? When wildfires are engulfing the edge of your neighborhood? Or an earthquake is destroying buildings? Or is the best time perhaps today? During a disaster, you may not be able to stay in touch with your family or friends as easily as you think. Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hi everyone, I'm Kristen Bell, and I invited you here to my hotel room to talk about your cheeks. Your big, beautiful cheeks. Get your mind out of the gutter. I'm talking about swabbing them. Did you guys know that each year 20,000 Americans with blood cancer are searching for their life-saving marrow match? So here's how we can help. It's really, really simple. All you have to do is swab your cheek. This cheek. Then go to giftoflife.org and request a free kit so that you can swab a cheek and save a life.
You just heard this exact message without the s and s. If that was to understand, imagine your local hospital was missing the LD types. Schedule to redcross.org. You just heard this exact message without the A's, B's, and O's. If that was hard to understand, imagine your local hospital was missing the A, B, or O blood types, and a loved one was in desperate need of a blood transfusion. Schedule to donate at redcrossblood.org.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat, and apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable, but how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Today's broadcast of the ODAC Basketball Tournament coming to you live on WLUR Lexington 91.5 FM and WLUR All Access powered by First Team Broadcasting. Glad to have our viewers on ODACOnline.com as well. Jeremy Franklin with you courtside here at the Salem Civic Center. Quarterfinals of the men's tournament, and we're about to get this second half underway. The number 5 seed Washington and Lee leading the number 4 seed Virginia Wesleyan 46-34. The Generals trying to get to the ODAC semifinals for the 3rd straight year at the expense of the 6-time champions, although the Marlins' last title came back in 2014. R.J. Nicholson, Tim Fisher, Corey Pelham, Keon Honore, and Lamont Stewart starting 5 for Virginia Wesleyan against Mark Lamendola, William Brueggemann, Roy McMillan, Curtis Mitchell, and Devin Kearns, starters for the Generals as well. Marlins have the basketball as we're back underway. They go right to left, and the Generals left to right here in the second half. Keon Honore trying to feed the high post. It came off the toe of William Brueggemann. So Virginia Wesleyan will keep possession and take it out of bounds. Shot clock was at 19. It will bump back up to 20. Into Honore, guarded by Devin Kearns. Generals in man. Lamont Stewart left elbow. Feeds the wing, and the pass stolen there by William Brueggemann. Transition, Brueggemann gets his man out of the way. That was Pelham, and lays it up and in. Brueggemann, the 3rd General in double figures. He's got 10, and it's 48-34. Points off of a turnover for the Generals to start the second half. Stewart foul line jumper at the other end. That rattles home. And he now has 11. At the other end, the Generals quickly work it under the rim to Curtis Mitchell. Posting up on Stewart, leans in, no. Devin Kearns rebounds. He had an open layup if he had looked at the basket. Instead, pulls it back to the perimeter. Now Kearns takes it down the lane, floats it up, won't go. And the rebound to Fisher. Quickly hands it off to Pelham. 12-point game, just over a minute into the second period. Stewart stopping out front, sends it to the left side to Nicholson. Now to the baseline to Fisher. Fisher, spin move around Brueggemann. Layup, no. And the rebound knocked off the knee of Brueggemann. So it will stay Virginia Wesleyan basketball. Lamont Stewart deflected it. Evidently hit the leg of Brueggemann, who seems in disbelief at the call. Honore will lob it into Stewart. Out front for R.J. Nicholson. Lamondola knocked the ball down, but then he knocked R.J. Nicholson down and is called for his second personal foul. And the Marlins will take it out again. 48-36 Generals, 18:37 to go. Honore into Stewart, high post. Stewart on the attack, shot blocked. Fisher gets it back, layup no, and Mitchell taps it to McMillan. Ahead to Brueggemann, stomps on the right wing, gives it back to McMillan. Now a handoff to Devin Kearns. Away to McMillan on the cut. What a pass that was. McMillan making a beeline for the rim. He gets fouled underneath the basket. And Roy McMillan will shoot a couple. Foul is on Tim Fisher. That's his first. And Roy McMillan to the line where he is 3 of 3. Third team all-conference last year as the third leading scorer behind Devin Kearns and then Clayton Murtha. But McMillan has elevated his game this season, coming in third in the conference, 18.4 game. First team All-ODAC pick, knocks down 2 more free throws. He has been red hot at the line as of late. 50-36, 14-point Generals lead. McMillan has hit 40 of his last 43 attempts from the charity stripe. Generals in a matchup zone now. Stewart gets it top of the key. Bounce pass to the wing. Honore launches the three well short. And Kearns comes in for the rebound. Devin Kearns running the floor. Ships it to the corner. Lamondola for 3, no. Devin Kearns grabs the long rebound. Pulls it back out. Now starts in against Stewart. Gets to the rim and scores. Too easy that time for Kearns off the offensive board. He's got 15, and the Generals had their biggest lead up 52-36. At the other end, R.J. Nicholson on the attack. Big block by Curtis Mitchell. At the edge of the lane, out of bounds to Virginia Wesleyan. Tyree Golston back in place of Nicholson with 17:34 to play. Washington and Lee up by 16. Honore feeds it out front to Fisher. Fisher on the attack, caught down low, throws it off a General, gets it back. Now feeds the wing to Pelham. Up top to Golston, left side Honore. Works it into Fisher, posting up McMillan this time. Mitchell there to help. Fisher, wild miss on the layup over the 2 big shot blockers for the Generals, and Brueggemann comes down with the basketball. Brueggemann at the other end. Hesitation out front, gets down low, misses it off the glass from the low blocks, and Stewart runs the floor. Ahead to Honore, back to Stewart, who lays it up and in over Mitchell as the Marlins convert on the 2-on-1 chance. Just over 3 minutes into the half, 52-38 Generals. Lamont Stewart now with 13 for the Marlins. Devin Kearns bounce pass to the high post to Mitchell. Mitchell hits the cutting Kearns. Kearns trapped under the rim, feeds it back out to McMillan, who fires up the 3, rims out, and Pelham with the board. Long outlet to Honore. Honore hits the trailing Golston. Good defense by Brueggemann to take away the transition 3. Now Golston going to the post to Fisher. Skips it out to Pelham. Right side 3 is up, no good. Rebound uncontested that time for McMillan. Ahead comes Kearns. 14-point Generals lead. Kearns inside for Mitchell. Lamont Stewart was beaten on the play, so he just grabs Mitchell around the waist to prevent a dunk. First foul on Stewart, second team foul on the Marlins. Percy Burt and R.J. Nicholson back in for Virginia Wesleyan. Mark Krogan, Alex Starr, and Kevin Dinnan check in for the Generals. At the 16-15 mark, 52-38 our score. Kearns comes out front to Krogan. Krogan dribbling at the top of the key. And now flips it back to Kearns at midcourt. Kearns starting in from the wing. Gets to the low blocks, muscles it up, won't go. Rebound out off of Krogan. It'll be Marlin basketball. Generals go back to their 2-2-1 press. They've had success from time to time with takeaways. Not this time as the Marlins get it over with ease. Golston into the lane, spin move around Krogan. Shot off the glass, no, and Mark Krogan with the rebound. Stuck at 52-38. Devin Kearns takes it down low. One-handed push shot is way off the mark from 10 feet away. And the Marlins have it, 15:33 to go. Corey Pelham, good pass to the cutting Kelvin Nicholson, who jams it home. Great bouncer that time from the perimeter. And the dunk by Nicholson pulls the Marlins to within 12. And Chris McHugh will take a timeout. 6-6 in the second half. And the halftime margin remains a 12-point Generals lead with 15:20 remaining in this second half. You're listening to the ODAC Basketball Quarterfinals on WLUR and WLUR All Access. We'll come right back to Salem.
In 50 feet, turn left. Why are you driving so slowly?
After a few drinks, I'm taking it slow.
Well, you're not fooling the cop behind you.
What?
Get ready to pay in 0.1 miles.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Chris Pine. Children's Miracle Network hospitals are amazing places. It takes tremendous resources to care for sick and injured kids and to keep them smiling and laughing even during their toughest treatments. That's why donations are so very important. Please join me in supporting your children's hospital so every kid has a chance to get better. Put your money where the miracles are. Give to your Children's Miracle Network hospital.
15:20 to play, second half. Washington and Lee 52, Virginia Wesleyan 40. Gotten a little choppy in the last few minutes, especially on the offensive side for the Generals. It's the timeout from Chris McHugh. Already won 35 games in his first 2 seasons as head coach. First time the Generals have had winning records in ODAC play in back-to-back years since the 1980s. 11-5 both seasons. Mark Krogan, top of the arc for Washington and Lee, coming out of the timeout here. Hands it off to McMillan. Well, McMillan will take it down the lane, pulls up left baseline, misses the 8-footer, and Kelvin Nicholson rebounds for the Marlins. Maybe a chance here. Virginia Wesleyan starting to string some stops together. An opportunity to get back in this game. At the other end, R.J. Nicholson kicks it across to Pelham. Pelham feeds the wing. Tyree Golston, quick release on the 3, no good. Contested by Alex Starr. Offensive rebound, Percy Burt, and he's fouled on the way back up. That'll be the first on Mark Krogan. And a chance at the free throw line for Percy Burt, the junior out of Fredericksburg. Burt did not play in either of the last 2 regular season games for the Marlins. He started the first 16 games of the year. 9 points and a career-high 15 rebounds in the home win against the Generals back in December. Missing the first free throw here. He comes in averaging 7.4 points and 5.7 boards, but he's just 36% at the line. Clock stopped with 14:41 to go. Second shot is up, no good for Burt. Rebound to McMillan. So it remains a 12-point Generals lead. A little bit of a scoring drought, though, for Washington and Lee. They've been on 52 for a while. McMillan off the dribble. 12-footer won't go. One and done this time for the Generals. The rebound to Kelvin Nicholson. Brought across by R.J. Nicholson. Gets it to Burt in the corner. Burt takes it into the lane, floats it up, no. Tap, no. And now the ball controlled by McMillan. Burt almost took it away. But McMillan hangs on, and at the other end, Lamendola's got it. Over to Starr, inside to Mitchell. Mitchell, the floater is up, no, but he's fouled, and Curtis Mitchell will shoot 2. Fouls the first on Burt. Curtis Mitchell 2 for 2 at the line. And he'll shoot 2 more with 14:05 to play.
Curtis Mitchell.
9.2 points, 7.5 rebounds a game for Curtis Mitchell. Missing the first free throw here. That is the first missed foul shot for the Generals. They were 9 of 9. Single season record for blocks for Mitchell, who is almost in the top 5 in career blocks with 2 seasons to go. He hits the second foul shot to make it 53-40. Marlins again dealing with the Generals 2-2-1. Get it across no problem this time. Golston on the left wing at 2-2-1, morphing into a half-court zone as well. Looks like a 2-on-2 with the big guy Mitchell right in the middle. Pelham right side 3 up and good. Those wing threes are going to be open against the zone, and Pelham pulls the Marlins to within 10. At the other end, Mitchell stops top of the key, hands off to McMillan, who fires up the 3. Won't go. Field goal drought brewing here for the Generals, and the Marlins can make this a single-digit game. Still better than 13 minutes to go. Pelham inside to R.J. Nicholson, squares to the rim against Lamondola, floats it up against Lamondola, who blocks the shot. Got a piece of it, and it's out of bounds to the Marlins with the shot clock at 15. Trey Lewis back in for WNL. Roy McMillan will sit. And the ball comes into Tim Fisher at the right elbow. Hands it off to Golston. Golston into the lane and then throws it away. Mark Lamondola swipes the pass. Pelham battling for it in the open floor. Lamondola from the deck grabs the loose ball. It rolls to him, and the Generals get a timeout call. Big scramble there. And it will be a Washington in the lead timeout with 13:02 to play. We'll keep it here. It's WNL 53, Virginia Wesleyan 43. Or do they have a foul call before the timeout? Let's see. No, it was a timeout. Devin Kearns was the player who called it, which is why they were signaling a number to the scores table across the way. So a 10-point game, but the Generals only with 2 field goals in the second half so far, and those came early. A bucket for Brueggemann off the steal, and then a basket for Devin Kearns as well. As of yet, though, Virginia Wesleyan has not made major inroads into the lead. Still a double-digit margin, and it will be Generals ball after the timeout. A reminder, coming up tomorrow night, we'll have the Washington and Lee women in action in the ODAC quarterfinals. The Generals matching their best ever finish in the ODAC in regular season play. They went third, finished third with a 13-5 conference record. 17-8 overall. They will take on the number 6 seed Lynchburg at 8 o'clock on Friday night right here in Salem. Got the nightcap against the Hornets. And even though the Generals are the higher seed, Lynchburg beat them twice during the regular season. See if the Generals can avenge those losses in the playoffs. Back to the men's side. 10-point Washington in the advantage. The Generals, though, in need of a bucket here. Just over 13 minutes left in this quarterfinal contest. Brueggemann, Kearns, Lewis, Mitchell, and Lamondola against Stewart, Fisher, Honore, R.J. Nicholson, and Pelham. Devin Kearns, wing left side for WNL. Dribbles top of the key, hands off to Lewis, 12 to shoot. Lewis away to Brueggemann, deep contested 3, no, well short. And the rebound to R.J. Nicholson. The Marlins again get a stop on the defensive side. Here goes Honore. Good defense by Lewis. Another bad pass. Lamondola got a piece out front. Lewis and Lamondola both hit the deck. So does R.J. Nicholson. So does Keon Honore. Will finally get a held ball whistle. Hustle play from both sides there, and the Generals will get it on the alternating possession. (53-43) it remains. 12:29 left. Washington and Lee also without a 3-point make in the second half after going 7 of 11 in the first half. Top of the key jump shot is good for Brueggemann, a long 2 just inside the arc, but a much needed hoop for the Generals. First field goal in a while, and it puts them up 55-43. Jump shot no good for R.J. Nicholson. The rebound to Brueggemann. That last basket for William Brueggemann broke a 6-minute field goal drought for Washington and Lee. Lamondola top of the arc at the other end. Puts it back in the hands of Kearns. Now left side to Lewis. To the baseline, Curtis Mitchell, guarded by Fisher. Mitchell backing Fisher down, leans in, and gets the whistle. Amazingly, with both of those players going at one another, for most of the game, neither player picked up a foul in the first half. Curtis Mitchell still without a personal foul. That's the second on Fisher. And Mitchell back to the line for 2 more. Coming with 11:34 to play. First one is up, no good. Mitchell now 3 of 5 at the line. Kevin Dinnan, Roy McMillan return. Out go Brueggemann and Lamondola. A second chance for Curtis Mitchell to stretch the Generals' lead back to 13. And he does. That one rolls in to make it 56-43. Back to the 2-2-1 press. Stewart gets it over to Pelham. Back to Stewart. And the Generals staying with their half-court zone. Honore, a lob ahead to Stewart at the foul line. Stewart driving it on Mitchell, blocks the initial shot. Stewart gets it back, kicks it to Nicholson, away to Honore. To the corner, Pelham fires up the 3, well short, and McMillan's got it. Ahead to Devin Kearns, transition look. Kearns takes it in. His shot blocked by R.J. Nicholson into the hands of Corey Pelham. Pelham at the other end, dribbles into the corner, works it underneath the rim. R.J. Nicholson spins off of Kearns and flips it in. Nicholson gets the block at one, in the bucket at the other. It's 56-45. 10:47 to go. Trey Lewis, top of the key, right side to Devin Kearns. Kearns around the McMillan screen. Now feeds McMillan right baseline. He'll shoot over top of Pelham, but well short on the 15-footer. Roy McMillan has gone cold here in the second half. Marlins have it down 11. Keon Honore to the right wing, guarded by Mitchell on the switch. Gets it to Nicholson. Inside Fisher, who's got the guard on him. That's Trey Lewis. Fisher spins off of Lewis. Post-up basket, no. But the tap is up and good for Lamont Stewart. And the Marlins, as close as they've been in a while, they're within 9. 10:08 to play, 56-47. Kevin Dinnan, right side, 3, in and out, with Pelham closely guarding him. And the Marlins with the rebound. Stewart will hand off to Pelham on the left wing. Out top to Fisher. Right side, Honore. Comes around the Fisher screen, gives it up to Pelham. Lob underneath for Stewart. Stewart is fouled on the way up, and he'll shoot 2. Check the foul here. It's going to be on Kevin Dinnan. That's his third. Also the third team foul. And Lamont Stewart to the line. 15 points so far today. 2 of 2 at the foul line. Just under 78% there this season. First one here, though, is short. 9:45 left. Another chance for Stewart to cut the lead down to 8. Percy Burt, Kelvin Nicholson, and Tyree Golston back in. They'll play with Honore and then one more for Stewart. For the Generals, it's now Krogan, Dinnan, Brueggemann, McMillan, and Lamondola. Second shot, good for Stewart, 56-48. And the Marlins extending the defense, just looks like a full-court man-to-man. Big screen by McMillan, caught Golston at midcourt. Brueggemann takes it into the lane, misses the left-handed floater. Battle for the rebound, Krogan and Golston hit the deck. We have another held ball, and this time it goes to Virginia Wesleyan on the alternating possession. Well, as good as the Generals looked offensively in the first half, it has been a struggle to score here in the second. Just 3 field goals and nothing from beyond the arc after they knocked down 7 triples in the first 20 minutes. 3 on the way, top of the key for Stewart, well short. Long rebound to Dinnan. Generals have it up 8, 9:19 to play. Mark Lamondola away to Brueggemann. He's open for 3, but still can't hit. Rebound tapped out front, grabbed by Kelvin Nicholson. Hands to Golston, one-on-one with Brueggemann. And Golston draws the foul, and he'll shoot 2. Second personal on William Brueggemann. Much better look from long range for the Generals. Brueggemann was all alone, but still can't hit. And now free throws for Tyree Golston. First one drops in off the back iron. He can make this a 2-possession game. 9:09 remaining here in the second half. Second shot, no good. Rebound to McMillan. It's 56-49. Lamondola wing right side. Gets into the lane. Maybe got away with a travel there. And McMillan has to track down his pass back at midcourt. Ahead to Kevin Denon. Denon against Honore, gives it up to Krogan. 9 to shoot. Krogan hands off to McMillan. McMillan on the attack. Gets a bump, hits the shot, and a free throw coming. His first field goal of the second half. What a big one. Pull up mid-range. And took the contact, finished through it, and he'll have a free throw coming. That was the second on Tyree Golston, 5th team foul of the Marlins with 8:44 to play. And the foul shot for McMillan would stretch the margin back to double figures. 14 points now for McMillan. He is 5 out of 5 at the foul line. Over 1,200 points on his career. Finally a miss at the line. So it's 58-49. Keon Honore for the Marlins. Bounce pass ahead to Golston. Hands it off to Lamont Stewart. Stewart on the drive against Mitchell. A lot of contact, no whistle. And the Generals control the ball. At the other end, Lamondola works his way into the corner. Sends it out front to Devin Kearns. Kearns will drive in on Kelvin Nicholson. Got by him, got to the rim, and lays it up and in. And it's now 60-49. 17 for Kearns as we hit the 8-minute mark here in the second half in Salem. Spotted the ODAC semifinals against the number 1 seed, Randolph-Macon. That's what's on the line in the 4-5 game here. Tyree Golston on the left wing. Kicks it across to Stewart, who steps into a 3 but misses. And McMillan elevates for the rebound. Devin Kearns at the other end. It's 2-on-5, and he'll slow it down. McMillan gets it left side, fires up the 3, no. Generals still have not hit a tray in the second half. At the other end, Golston fakes the 3, takes it down the lane, hands off to Percy Burt. His runner no good. A rebound tap to Golston. He misses the 6-footer, and Curtis Mitchell clears it for the Generals, and then Kearns with a good long pass ahead to McMillan, who lays it up and in transition to make it a 13-point game. And a timeout from Virginia Wesleyan at the other end. Washington and Lee with 6 quick points to turn that 7-point margin into a 13-point advantage. 7:10 to play here in the ODAC quarterfinals. We'll be right back.
Come on, smile. Oh, honey, he's still not smiling.
Maybe he's not a smiler.
Yeah, maybe he's just not a happy baby.
Maybe he's just being a boy.
Or maybe he's teething.
Maybe it's just a phase.
Maybe he has autism, and we can definitely do something to help.
Maybe is all you need to find out more about autism. No big, joyful smiles by 6 months is one early sign. Learn the others at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Hi, I found a toy dinosaur over on the playground by Smith Street. It had this phone number on it, and, well, I just wanted to make sure the dinosaur made it back to its little owner.
When I found the little sippy cup, I just had to give you a call. It's for a kid, you know?
I know my son gets super attached to the smallest things, even a fire truck, and I'd be happy to drop it off.
We'd do anything for kids, yet 1 in 6 children in the U.S. struggle with hunger. Help end childhood hunger near you. Learn how at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Quick 6-0 run for Washington and Lee will make the Generals feel a lot better about where they are in this game. Had a 16-point lead. Virginia Wesleyan had cut that down to 7, but now it's 62-49 with 7:10 to go. Virginia Wesleyan basketball. Honore inbounding for the baseline. He'll get it to Stewart. Now it comes inside to Tim Fisher, posting up and scoring down low. First points of the second half for Fisher, who had 10 at the break. A much-needed basket there for the Marlins, 62-51. The other McMillan inside to Mitchell. Mitchell back out to McMillan on the left wing. And McMillan takes it down the lane and gets fouled. A hold on the way up. Lamont Stewart can't believe the call. But Roy McMillan will be heading to the line. That's the second personal on Stewart as the two all ODAC players battle one-on-one. 16 now for McMillan. I think it's 17 as he hits the first free throw. Right about at his season average, 18.4 points per game, third in the conference. Second shot, got that as well. Double-double also for McMillan. He's got 10 rebounds to go along with 18 points. 10th double-double of the year. Second against Virginia Wesleyan. And then Pelham out of control at the other end, lost it on the way up. Brueggemann grabs it, and Devin Kearns in transition. Nothing there as the Marlins hustle back. Washington and Lee up 64-51. Kearns starts in again, got around Stewart, but then misses at the rim, and here comes Pelham. Keon Honore on the drive, bumped by Brueggemann. That'll be his third, and also the fifth team foul on Washington and Lee with 6:21 to play. Lamendola sits Kevin Denton back in. The Generals up by 13. Honore drops it into Fisher, back out to R.J. Nicholson. Now Honore again. Inside Fisher, working on McMillan, drives in and gets fouled. Believe as he was looking to pass the ball back to the wing. Foul is on Curtis Mitchell. That's his first. And it was on the floor. It's the last foul to give for the Generals. And so the Marlins take it out with a shot clock at 20. Game clock at 6:12. Into Pelham, right corner three is up, won't go. And Brueggemann grabs the rebound. Ahead comes Kearns. Drives in, dishes it out to Denon, back to Kearns, deep left corner. Kearns against Pelham, hits the cutting McMillan, gets underneath the rim against Stewart, lays it up and in, and gets fouled. Great control by McMillan to get his man up in the air. Stop on a dime on the cut. And a three-point play chance for McMillan. An opportunity for the Generals to match their biggest lead with 5:52 to go. And that's also the third personal on the Marlins' leading scorer, Lamont Stewart. In and out for McMillan on the free throw, but the Marlins fumble the rebound. Mitchell knocked it off of Stewart. It's out of bounds to W&L with 5:51 left, and the Generals up 66-51. Timeout Marlins. We'll keep it right here. Jeremy Franklin with you courtside at the Salem Civic Center. Live coverage of the ODAC men's basketball quarterfinals on WLUR and WLUR All Access, powered by First Team Broadcasting. Glad to have our viewers on ODAConline.com as well. 4-5 game, but these two teams part of a four-way tie for third with Lynchburg and Roanoke. The Hornets and the Maroons play at 8 o'clock tonight. That will follow the 2-7 matchup. Guilford, a team whom the Generals beat in Greensboro on Saturday, will take on the number 7 seed, but the defending champion Emory and Henry. And then all the women's quarterfinals on Friday. W&L Lynchburg will be at 8 o'clock. The game that we'll have on WLUR. Virginia Wesleyan will be in the 4-5 game in that tournament as well. They are the 5 seed, featuring the ODAC Player of the Year, Jayla Harris. They'll take on number 4 seed and defending champ Randolph-Macon at 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. The men's semis on Saturday afternoon, women's semifinals Saturday night, championship doubleheader starting with the men's title game at 1 o'clock on Sunday. You can watch every single game from the ODAC basketball tournament on ODAConline.com. 5:51 left in this quarterfinal. 15-point Generals lead. Washington and Lee with the basketball. Mark Lamendola gets it top of the key away to Devin Kearns. He'll work it to McMillan, who's got a shorter defender on him, Monterey, who goes down trying to sell a charge, leaves McMillan open, but he misses a mid-range jumper. However, there's a Marlin foul on the rebound. That will put the Generals at the line. They're in the bonus, 8th team foul. So a 1-and-1 chance for Kevin Dinnan, who doesn't go to the free throw line a lot. Mostly content to hang out on the perimeter, knock down threes. He's hit 53 of those this season, including 2 today. Dinnan's free throw is up and good. He's now 7 of 8 at the foul line this season. 7th point of the afternoon for the junior from Severna Park, Maryland. 5:39 to play. Second free throw, got that as well. Biggest margin of the afternoon for Washington and Lee, 68-51. Some backcourt pressure. Tyree Golston being pestered by Lamendolo is really good at that kind of thing. Away it comes to Honore, back to Golston, fakes the three, drives down low, gets Mitchell out of the way, kept his feet moving, and a good finish there by Tyree Golston. 68-53, but the Marlins got to string together some stops and in a hurry. Lamendolo wing right side, out front to Mitchell. Ball knocked away from Mitchell, and here comes Golston one-on-one with Kearns. Jump stop transition, Curtis Mitchell with the big block, pins it off the backboard. And then a Virginia Wesleyan foul, and we'll see another trip to the line for Kevin Dinnan. Another block for Curtis Mitchell, extending his single-season program record. And this will be a 1-and-1 for Dinnan, who just hit the front end and the back end of a single bonus chance. Front end here is up, good. And a chance for Kevin Dinnan to get into double figures for the 11th time this season. Second shot up, got that as well. 5:02 left. And back to a 17-point Washington and Lee advantage. Marlins get it over to R.J. Nicholson. Now Honore on the sideline. Away to Fisher. Fires up the 14-footer and hits. Tim Fisher has 14 points. 70-55. Devin Kearns on the left wing. Mitchell offers the screen. Kearns attacking, feeding Mitchell, and he travels. Good recovery by Tim Fisher as Washington and Lee was trying the screen and roll. And Fisher never lost his man. The Generals end up turning it over. Just the 9th of the game for W&L. 4:34 to play. They lead it by 15. R.J. Nicholson ahead to Corey Pelham. Washington and Lee continuing to press. Honore now gets it inside to Nicholson, back out to Pelhamer. That was the intended destination of the pass, but it's well wide, and it goes out of bounds back to the Generals. 70-55, 4 minutes, 20 seconds and counting to play here in Salem. Kearns brings it up against Honore. Kearns on the wing, dribbling around, and we've got a foul off the basketball on the Marlins, which I believe will mean 2 shots here. It will. That's the 10th team foul. And it's on Lamont Stewart as well. That's his 4th personal, and he has put Roy McMillan back at the line. 7 of 9. Make it 7 of 10 as he misses the first. Got the second. 21 now for Roy McMillan. And a 71-55 Generals advantage. 10th double-double, and also the 10th time that he has hit the 20-point mark this year. $21-10 for the senior from Raleigh. 3 ball is up and good for Keon Honore. His first points of the game. The Marlins' 3rd leading scorer on the season knocks down the triple. And this one is not over yet. 71-58, 3:47 to go. Lamendolo from up top, dribbles right side. Now starts back the other way, gets inside the lane, still going against Stewart. And he's called for the offensive foul, called for the wraparound as Lamendolo. That'll be his 3rd, and it will also turn the ball back over to Virginia Wesleyan with 3:39 to go. 13-point margin. Lamont Stewart on the left wing for Virginia Wesleyan. Bounce pass ahead to Fisher. Fisher on the attack, muscles that one toward the rim and draws the foul, which will be the second on Curtis Mitchell. And so free throws for Fisher, his first attempts of the game. He's a good foul shooter as well, 78%. 14 points and 8 rebounds so far for Fisher. Off target on the first free throw, though. Virginia Wesleyan's had a tough time at the line here in the second half. 2 out of 7. Can't afford to leave points on the table at this juncture if you're the Marlins, and Fisher will make good on the second free throw. It's 71-59. Now the Marlins extend the defense. Full court man as Brueggemann brings it up against Pelham. Gets it across to Mitchell. He's being guarded by the point guard Honore. Mitchell away to McMillan. Mitchell will immediately take Honore down to the low post. And the Generals get him the ball, though. Not in time. Stewart will switch over to Mitchell. Shot clock at 10. Kearns back at midcourt. Starts ahead on the drive. Pulls up the floater short. Stewart maybe got a piece of that. And the rebound to Fisher. Under 3 to play in a 12-point game. Nicholson hands off to Pelham, who launches the 3 and buries it right over Brueggemann. And the Marlins pull within 9. Third made 3. Those have accounted for all 9 of Corey Pelham's points today. Kearns at the foul line, guarded by Honore, steps back out. Comes around a McMillan screen. Still Kearns, now gives it up to Mitchell. Mitchell will take it down the lane, leans into the layup, no. And a big rebound, though, for Roy McMillan, and he was grabbed by Honore. So that will mean 2 free throws. The Generals are in the double bonus. And McMillan heads back to the line. 8 out of 11 there in this game is McMillan. First one up and no good. It rims out. He made his first 5 today. He is only 3 of 7 since. 2:28 left. Second for Roy. That rolls in to make it 72-62. And now the Generals will call a timeout. We'll step aside. 10-point game just inside of 2.5 minutes to play here in the ODAC quarterfinals at the Salem Civic Center.
You wanted to be a teacher when you were little, but as you grew up, things changed. Teaching just didn't seem like the best option anymore, so you decided to become something else. But what would your 12-year-old self say? Interesting and innovative things are happening in teaching today, so it's time to put it back on your list. Don't try to convince yourself otherwise. You had it right the first time.
Find out how you can make more at teach.org. Make more. Teach. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
The Rockbridge Area Health Center is a community health center providing family medicine, pediatrics, women's health, dental, behavioral health, and prenatal services to uninsured, underinsured, and insured residents of Rockbridge County and the surrounding areas. Our AHC's current building expansion will allow us to better meet the needs of our community. The health center offers a variety of discount programs, including help with the cost of appointments and prescriptions. For more information, visit rockahc.org or call us at 540-464-8700.
Fifth seeded Washington and Lee on top of the number 4 seed Virginia Wesleyan, 72-62 with 2:28 left. ODAC quarterfinal action in Salem. Winner to face the number 1 seed, the regular season champion Randolph-Macon at 1 o'clock Saturday in the first of 2 men's hoops semifinals. Championship game at 1 o'clock on Sunday. Honore, Stewart, Pelham, R.J. Nicholson, and Fisher for the Marlins against Mitchell, Brueggemann, Kearns, Lamondola, and McMillan for the Generals. It is Virginia Wesleyan basketball. Pelham brings it over. Works it ahead to Fisher, back to Nicholson. Guarded out front, Nicholson attacking against Brueggemann. Tough finish with the scoop shot off the glass. R.J. Nicholson pulls the Marlins within 8, and the Generals go for the home run pass, and they get it. And now Roy McMillan will jam it home. He got the long pass, fed Lamondola in the corner. McMillan got it back and throws it down. 74-64, under 2 to play. Pelham stomps out front against Mitchell, wanted to get the 3 off no space. Now it comes to Honore. Honore on the drive, misses against McMillan, rebound to Kearns. Generals have it up 10. Devin Kearns will get it up and then pull it back out. Washington and Lee will try to run some clock and shorten this game. Now Roy McMillan takes it all the way home. So much for running clock. McMillan driving in from the top of the key. Saw an opening and he takes advantage. And it's 76-64, just a minute 24 to play. Top of the key, 3-0 for Stewart. Long rebound bounces to Honore. And he'll kick it out to R.J. Nicholson, who's open. His 3-ball in and out. Battle for the rebound, loose in the corner. Mark Lamendola and Pelham after it. The ball knocked into the direction of William Brueggemann, and then he gets fouled with just a minute 11 to go. That'll be on Honore, his second. Washington and Lee in the double bonus, 2 free throws for William Brueggemann. His first trip to the line today, but he's third in the conference in foul shooting, 85.7% on the year. Unofficially, Washington and Lee, 19 of 25 at the free throw line today, and Brueggemann gets the first to go. And that's his 13th point. He averages 14.4. The sophomore from Houston, second shot short, 77-64. No time to waste here for the Marlins. Honore attacking from the top of the key, tries the feed inside to Fisher. It's knocked away and stolen by Curtis Mitchell as we tick down inside the final minute of this quarterfinal with the Generals up by 13. Mark Lamendola trying to drive and dish. Maybe an ill-advised decision that time. He threw it well out of the reach of Mitchell and back out of bounds to Virginia Wesleyan, but just 50.5 seconds to go in his 77-64 game. Alex Starr, the senior captain, back in place of Brueggemann. And a timeout called by Dave Macedo as the Marlins get it across midcourt, but they just want to make a substitution here and get one of their seniors in. That's Davon Brown from Norfolk. Just the 8th appearance of his senior season. Well, substitution timeout was called, but now both teams will head to the huddle at least for a moment. 45.5 seconds left, 77-64. Washington and Lee, the Generals have led the entire second half, up by as many as 17 points, trying to punch their ticket to the ODAC semifinals for the 3rd straight season. Randolph-Macon, regular season champ, awaits. The Yellow Jackets had no trouble with Randolph in their quarterfinal game, beat the Wildcats 79-42. Still some work to do for the Generals to see this one out. They lost by 8 at Randolph-Macon at the end of November. Tevin Panchel will check in for the Generals. The first year from Belmont, California. It's been a big part of the Generals' rotation in the backcourt this season. First action for him in Salem. R.J. Nicholson for the Marlins. Nicholson, the floater is up and good. Rolls in. 33.9 to go, 77-66. Ball comes into Panchel. Virginia Wesleyan pressing, but it would appear will not foul, at least not intentionally. Alex Starr, pass deflected at midcourt and loose in the corner. And saved in there. So the Marlins have just 18 seconds to go. 3 is on the way. No good for Rashad Johnson, who just came in as well. Rebound out off of Washington and Lee. It'll be Marlin basketball, 13.4 seconds left. Terry Bisacchio also in for Virginia Wesleyan. Comes to R.J. Nicholson. Nicholson pulls up for 3 over Lamendola, knocks it down with just 6.6 to go. And that should just about do it. Generals get it into Alex Starr. They don't even need to cross midcourt. Washington and Lee will beat Virginia Wesleyan for the second time here in the month of February, but for the first time ever at the ODAC tournament, the Generals are through to the semifinals to take on Randolph-Macon. Final score here in Salem, Washington and Lee 77 and Virginia Wesleyan 69. We'll take a short break and come back to wrap this one up. Stay with us here on WLUR and WLUR All Access.
180 over 111, and I had a stroke.
145 over 92, and then I had a heart attack.
150 over 90, and I had a stroke.
This is what high blood pressure sounds like. You might not feel its symptoms, but the results from a heart attack or stroke are far from silent. Get back on your treatment plan or talk with your doctor to create a plan that works for you. Go to loweryourhbp.org.
Everything's changed.
Brought to you by the American Heart Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
When Dad needed help getting around, I became his driver. Soon enough, it was up to me to be his housekeeper and financial manager, too. When he moved in, I became his cook and even his nurse. But no matter what roles I play, I know I'm still his daughter.
We understand the roles you play. So to help, we created aarp.org/caregiving, where you can connect with experts and other caregivers. Visit aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
When you went car shopping, you meant business. You aced vehicle history searches and test drives. You out-salesmaned the salesman. Now you've got your wheels. If you manage that, you can get your retirement plan on track. Visiting aceyourretirement.org can help. With 401k tips and smart saving strategies, you'll have the info you need to get more for your future. Go to aceyourretirement.org, because when it comes to speeding past financial challenges, you're an ace. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
You're not wired to have a response to this sound. You're neutral to it, and you can hear it repeatedly without feeling anything. But when we introduce a new stimulus, save the food, we've achieved pulling a natural or inborn response from you. Save the food, because 40% of all food in the US never gets eaten. Save the food. Cook it, store it, share it. Just don't waste it. For tips and recipes, visit savethefood.com. Brought to you by NRDC and the Ad Council.
Final score here in the ODAC men's basketball quarterfinals in Salem. Washington and Lee 77, Virginia Wesleyan 69. The Generals, as the number 5 seed, eliminate the 4th seeded Marlins, and they are through to Saturday's semifinal round, where they will take on the number 1 seed, Randolph-Macon. That's at 1 o'clock Saturday. Championship game at 1 p.m. on Sunday. Great win for the Generals. They get to 19-7. The 18 regular season wins, the most victories overall for Washington and Lee in 30 years. And if they can upset Randolph-Macon on Saturday, they will match that 1988-89 team, the last 20-win team in program history for W&L. Generals have not been to the ODAC championship game since Chris McHugh, as a player, helped take them there in 2009. Today's broadcast of Generals basketball has been brought to you in part by the Washington and Lee University Store. Celebrate your favorite Generals team with a sports tee, decal, or hat. If you can think of it, the store probably has it. The University Store is open 7 days a week. It is owned and operated by W&L. All proceeds go back to the Washington and Lee community, helping to fund athletic, alumni, and student programs. Order online anytime at store.wlu.edu, and be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter for exclusive online promotions. Go Generals! Dave Macedo had been 6-0 against Washington and Lee in the ODAC tournament, but the Generals get the win here today. Shot the ball so well from beyond the arc in the first half and gritted through a more difficult offensive performance in the second half. The Marlins made some nice adjustments on the defensive side, but W&L played well defensively throughout the game, held the Marlins to a 38% clip from the field, and Washington and Lee got the job done at the foul line, 20 of 27 for the game, including 13 of 20 at the free throw line. Virginia Wesleyan wraps up at 13-13, 16 points for Lamont Stewart, the second-team All-ODAC selection. Will be back for his senior season next year. A double-double for Tim Fisher, 15 points and 10 rebounds. That's his 11th double-double of the season. Third-team All-ODAC pick, and Fisher just a sophomore. And then 11 points for R.J. Nicholson, 9 apiece for Corey Pelham and Tyree Golston. Golston also grabbed 7 rebounds. On the Generals side, big game for the seniors. Roy McMillan, who had 26 points and 11 rebounds. Devin Kearns, 17 points, 6 boards, and 5 assists. William Brueggemann, 13 points and 8 rebounds, 10 points off the bench for Kevin Denon. Curtis Mitchell with a not atypical stat line, 6 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 blocks, and is still in the process breaking the single-season record for blocks at Washington and Lee. Came in tied with Rob Smitherman, and now 79 blocks this year for Mitchell, who's been in the top 10 in the country in blocks for most of the season. 3 points, 2 assists, 3 steals for Mark Lamondola, and then 2 points off the bench for Mark Krogan. The Generals improved to 19-7, 6 straight wins. W&L is undefeated now in the month of February. The Generals lost 3 of their last 4 in January, but 6-0 since turning the page on the calendar. We saw something similar last season for Washington and Lee when the Generals lost 4 of their last 6 contests in January, went 4-1 down the stretch in the regular season, had a pretty comprehensive win against Guilford in the quarterfinals before their run ended against Roanoke in the semifinal round last year. This time the opponent will be Randolph-Macon, the Yellow Jackets, who have had a tremendous season for Josh Merkel. They've worked their way up to number 5 in the country. Randolph-Macon is now 24-2 after its win earlier today against Randolph. One of those victories came against the Generals, 84-76. That was in Ashland back at the end of November. That is a long, long time in the scheme of a basketball season. Washington and Lee was back and forth with the Yellow Jackets in that game, actually led by 5 at halftime, then had a long scoring drought in the second half that allowed the Yellow Jackets to turn the game around. Kevin Denon hit 6 out of 7 from beyond the arc in that game, set a career high with 22. Roy McMillan had 22 points and 13 rebounds. But a very, very good Yellow Jackets team led by the ODAC Player of the Year, the point guard, Buzz Anthony. It is a tough matchup, but one the Generals, I'm sure, are looking forward to as they try to continue their run here in the postseason. Live coverage of that one Saturday afternoon, 1 o'clock tip-off, ODAConline.com. Rick Seidel and Richie Wagner will have the call. We'll be back tomorrow night for an 8 o'clock tip-off between Washington and Lee and Lynchburg, the 3-6 game in the ODAC women's basketball quarterfinals. The Generals have had a great season on that side as well, 13-5 in the conference, matching their best ever regular season finish. And will take on a team that actually beat them twice in the regular season in Lynchburg. Looking forward to that as well. For now, we will say so long from Salem. Thanks to Andy McEnroe and the fine folks at First Team Broadcasting, and to Jeremy Absuk back in the WLUR studio. You've been listening to the ODAC basketball quarterfinals on WLUR and WLUR All Access. Jeremy Franklin saying so long from Salem. Washington and Lee victorious in the ODAC quarterfinals as the 5th-seeded Generals knock off number 4 Virginia Wesleyan 77-69.